Hey there guys, it's PK Halford. It's Tuesday afternoon at the time of recording this, and I just figured I would throw out a quick video talking about my reactions to Survivor Series this year, because holy shit, for the first time in forever, I feel like I've actually had reactions that merit putting out a whole video just talking about it. You know, if you didn't think that Survivor Series felt Big Four going in with, you know, the way that they were booking everything leading up to it, oh boy, that show felt Big Four by the end of it. So we'll get to the point that everybody's talking about in just a second here, but first I'd like to say I really appreciated how much the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches felt this year. You know, in my predictions video I talked about, you know, really loving the 2003 match where, you know, it was Team Bischoff versus Team Austin, and it really felt like there were these super high stakes, and I loved that match as a kid. And ever since then, Survivor Series has never really been able to do it for me as far as making the matches mean something. It's just, we're going to take these guys who aren't doing anything, and then we're going to pit them against these guys who aren't doing anything, and we're just gonna smack them together, because ultimately this will lead to nothing leading on in the weeks to come. It has no storyline impact. But the matches themselves, even if they don't lead to anything this year, the matches themselves were really well done, and just they were given time. It wasn't like we've seen years and years previously where there's this huge rush where a guy runs in, gets hit with someone's finisher and gets eliminated, then that guy gets eliminated, and then that guy gets eliminated in rapid succession, and it just becomes this total gong show where the whole thing devolves into a brawl and doesn't mean jack shit. Not the case this time. The women's and the tag team matches, they each went, you know, about 20 minutes, and the men's match almost a goddamn hour, and it's just great that they put that much emphasis on the tag matches this year. So let's move on to the match that everybody's talking about. Bill Goldberg, at 49 years of age, who we haven't seen in a WWE ring since WrestleMania 20, comes back and just crushes Brock Lesnar in 1 minute, 25 seconds. Spear, jackhammer, and that's it. It's absolutely unreal, and there are so many people, you know, online just kind of venting their opinions about it, and some people hate it and think that it's the absolute worst. And on the other hand, you have some people equally as vocal about how it's the greatest thing that's happened in a long time. It's just amazing that they were able to get, you know, this huge reaction. I mean, everybody going into this thought Brock Lesnar was gonna beat the shit out of Goldberg, or, you know, they'd go 15 minutes or so, put on a decent hard-hitting match, and then Lesnar would get the win, or someone would run in interference, that's what I was predicting, and cause shenanigans that would cause Lesnar to ultimately beat Goldberg, while not making Goldberg look like a chump in the process. But to do what they did, like, wow. I think this is the first time that I've been, like, just abuzz with feeling about something pretty much not since the streak ended have I just kind of felt so, I don't know what it is, like energized, charged up, but I just, you know, I had to watch the pay-per-view later at night because I had other shit on the go, but, you know, by the time I saw that match, it was 3 in the morning, and even then, I still felt like, shit, I've got to, like, get up and, like, take a walk around the block, like, I need someone to, like, talk to about this, just because it's so fucking crazy and out of the norm. Now, a lot of people speaking negatively about this match, they're saying, well, now Goldberg's come back, he's crushed Brock Lesnar, and they were all anticipating that Brock Lesnar was finally eventually gonna be beaten by one of the full-time, you know, up-and-coming guys on the roster and get that huge, you know, boost from beating the guy that ended the streak, that, you know, beat the piss out of John Cena and did all this other crazy shit. And, you know, by beating Brock Lesnar, you essentially become the one who beat the streak by, you know, association. And a lot of people are pissed that it's Goldberg because he's not an up-and-comer. He's 49 fucking years old, and he just comes in and crushes Lesnar, and Goldberg doesn't need that kind of rub. He doesn't need anything more to build onto his legacy because it's already been cemented. Hell, we didn't think we'd see him back in these last 12 years. You know, it was talked about, it was teased, but, you know, a lot of people never really thought it would happen. And, you know, as a result, his legacy was already cemented, and, you know, nothing could tarnish it, but at the same time, you don't really need anything more to add on to it. But, you know, I think about it, and it doesn't really end that storyline. It doesn't end the whoever beats Brock Lesnar beats the streak and gets this huge rub. It doesn't end that like a lot of these people are saying. All it does is transfer that kind of power, that aura. It just transfers it from Lesnar to Goldberg. It's like in Highlander, when one immortal kills another immortal and they get like all their power, and there's that big surge of energy and all the fucking windows blow out of the place and there's a lot of screaming and fucking, yeah, it's Highlander. That's what it is. Goldberg has beheaded the beast, he's fucking slain him handily, and essentially he's absorbed his aura, his mystique now. So whoever beats Goldberg not only beats Goldberg now, but they beat Lesnar, they beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania by association, and they will be the ones who get that huge boost of, you know, crowd support, of they have this huge thing to tack on to their burgeoning legacy. And I think Goldberg is probably a better person to be that target of all these up-and-comers than Lesnar, because Goldberg is such a, you know, he's such a face right now, he's such a good guy, that it opens the door for all of these up-and-coming heels now to try and take a crack at it, because before, if you'd have had someone like Rusev, you know, someone who's a real up-and-coming heel challenge Lesnar, it wouldn't really work. Like, the fans, you know, heel versus heel is one of the hardest things to get the fans behind, because fucking, they don't want to see two bad guys against each other. They want to see a good guy kick the bad guy's ass, or two good guys face off just, you know, in a contest to determine who is better. If it's heel versus heel, it's just like, well, that guy's a dick, that guy's a dick, I have no one to root for. And nobody in that company is a bigger dick, you know, in kayfabe or not, than Brock Lesnar. The guy is an asshole. So anyone they would have to, you know, put up against him, anyone who's currently a heel, they would have to turn face, and maybe they don't want to do that with a guy like Rusev. So by having Goldberg, who, you know, wants to be a hero for the kids, and he, you know, misses the feeling of being a hero for all the people, they can have someone now attack him because they're a heel, and they want to, you know, break the people's hero, and they want to, you know, take that legacy for themselves. Or you can even have a face challenge Goldberg because they want to prove that they're the next big thing, and it can either be, you know, face versus heel or face versus face now. They get rid of having to, you know, possibly have the heel on heel dynamic, and now you just have more challengers for Goldberg than for Brock Lesnar because of that. Now, it is Tuesday afternoon at the time of recording this, and as of last night, Goldberg has confirmed that he will be appearing in the Royal Rumble, which is fucking awesome, because it kind of gives this impression, because it's this huge Royal Rumble in the fucking Alamo Dome, and they're trying to, you know, sell this son of a bitch out, but Goldberg throwing his hat into the ring basically gives you the impression that if Goldberg can do it, who the fuck else is coming back to vie for winning that championship match at WrestleMania? So that's what I think of Lesnar versus Goldberg, and do I think it's the greatest or the worst thing to ever happen like a lot of people? No, but, you know, it was just so unexpected, it was such a jolt to the system, and, you know, I think that's what a lot of these shows are missing. It's the reason I'm doing a video now, post-Survivor Series, and why I haven't done one after all these other pay-per-views that I've tried to predict, is because, you know, yeah, there was stuff that happened, but there was never anything so shocking, just such a defining moment that I felt like I needed to talk about it. And you've got to think about it this way. A lot of people are really pissed off, and it's not what they would have done, and it's not how they would have booked it. And, you know, that's true, but think about it from the perspective of, like, a young wrestling fan, like, someone who they're really trying to target, because face it, like, us guys in our mid to late 20s, we're not the fucking target audience anymore. We just have to accept that, because, you know, they've proven that we're such gluttons for punishment that we'll keep fucking coming back no matter what they throw at us. Like, that's been proven now, and we will. We're fucking suckers for it. But the target audience is these kids, and just imagine this. You're a young wrestling fan, and all you know about Brock Lesnar is he's this indomitable fucking mountain of a man who just comes out every so often, and he beats the shit out of your heroes. He beat the shit out of John Cena, he beat the shit out of Randy Orton, you know, he beat the shit out of The Undertaker and ended his streak. He is, you know, systematically decimating all of your heroes, and nobody can ever stand up to him. And it's so depressing because even as a kid, you realize he's not there because he loves it. He's there to collect a paycheck and, you know, just for his own means. And then you hear about this guy Goldberg, and you're wondering, like, who is he? Because you've never seen him in action, you know, you might have seen something on the network, but for the most part, all these kids wonder, who's Goldberg? And why is, like, the entire crowd suddenly unified behind this man? How come they're cheering for him, and they're not cheering for Lesnar to beat the shit out of your heroes like they always do? Like, why is he not getting booed and Lesnar cheered? What is this man, Goldberg? And then you see him, and he's, you know, he comes out in the sparks, with the smoke, with the, like, the kicks and the pyro, and just to hear the entire crowd chanting his name. And then he does it. And not only does he beat the guy who's been systematically abusing and destroying all of your heroes for the past, like, 3 years, but he just obliterates him in a minute 25. You know, what is that? What do you think that does for all these kids? You know, it's just such a rush to them to see this, you know, this bully, this asshole Brock Lesnar finally get some form of comeuppance, to see that fat fuck Paul Heyman standing on the outside, the guy who has taunted you in the crowd and all your heroes in the ring constantly, to hear him just, like, squealing and, like, begging for Brock Lesnar to get up after, you know, getting speared to shit by Goldberg. It's just such a fucking moment, and it's one of those things that I think a lot of these young fans, they're gonna fucking remember it forever. It's gonna be one of those, you know, defining moments. Probably created a whole bunch of new fans that night, and a lot of the times we don't think about that. We don't think about these moments and what they mean to people who it might be their first pay-per-view ever. We just think of it as, oh, the booking, and oh, it fucks with the continuity, and it takes away this thing that should be a rub for a hot up-and-coming guy that I love because I saw him on the indies. No, it's not about that this time. It's just, you know, something beyond that, beyond us, beyond our demographic, and I think that is what we can really take away from Lesnar versus Goldberg. So that is what I ended up thinking about Survivor Series this year. I loved it. From head to toe, I thought it was a really well done show. It's one of the first shows in a long time where I actually sat and watched every match from beginning to end, because they all felt, you know, sort of important, but there was nothing that felt like filler, because a lot of time there are a lot of matches that I, you know, see on the card and I think, well, that's a match I'm going to fast forward through because I want to get to these matches. There was nothing like that this time around. I wanted to see the outcome of everything on the card, which hasn't been that way for a long time. So I really enjoyed it. And, you know, yes, my predictions were mostly wrong. I did horribly this time around. I think I got like 2 out of 6 of them right. But it doesn't matter to me because I just, you know, I'm feeling shit, you know? And that doesn't happen often with WWE pay-per-views these days. So what did you think of Survivor Series 2016? You know, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree, whether you think Lesnar and Goldberg was just this total fucking waste of everyone's time, I would love to hear what you think in the comment section below. Let's get some discussion going about this one, guys. My name is PK Halford, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.